Hey guys, how you doing today? I'm back for some vinyl finds. Most of these are online purchases, and I think there's maybe a couple towards the end that are used vinyl from a local record store. Okay, what I've got playing in the background is this album right here by the band Can. This is the only Can that I've got on vinyl. Got some on CD, Tago Mago, and a box set, but this is the only one that I've got on vinyl, and I definitely have to pick up some more Can on vinyl. Maybe I've been kind of listening a little bit to soundtracks and Future Days, and maybe we'll pick up one of those on vinyl. The next album is a grail for me, and one of my favorite albums of all time, definitely in my top 10, probably in my top 5, is this album right here by the band Catherine Wheel, and the album is Ferment. This is their debut album. I've had this on CD for forever, and my brother-in-law picked up, I think he's on his third copy right now, but this one's on orange marbled vinyl. He had an extra copy of this, and so we made a deal for it. But this is a grail for me. I've wanted this forever on vinyl, and except for, I guess, original copies, which I don't even know if they're out there anymore. It got recently reissued with the orange marble vinyl. So Catherine Wheel, a band from the UK, originally associated with the shoegaze scene. This is their first album, Ferment. It's my favorite album of theirs. It has the song Black Metallic, which some of you may know, and also I Want to Touch You. This is highly recommended. Great band. One of my favorite bands of all time. Next, we have the band Big Star. So Alex Chilton, Chris Bell and company. This album is a 2-record set. It's a comp called Nothing Can Hurt Me. It's taken from the documentary that was released in 2012 on the band, which if you want to see that, you can see it on YouTube. A nice gatefold here with a picture of the band. So this album is, like I said, it's a comp, and it's including songs from that documentary. It plays like a Big Star best of collection, but all the songs are previously unissued in this form. They're alternate mixes of some of Big Star's biggest hits. They're not that different from the original versions, so it's kind of like having the original versions. So has songs from their 3 studio albums. Of course, #1 record, Radio City, and Third. So they're all alternate mixes of songs from those albums. And then on side 4, it has some Chris Bell solo material from I Am the Cosmos, from his album, and also a solo Alex Chilton song. This is highly recommended for any of you guys that are Big Star fans. This was a good price on Amazon, that's why I picked it up. I've got #1 record in Radio City already on vinyl, and I have Third on CD, but it was good to have that as a nice comp, and then throwing in the Chris Bell and Alex Chilton solo songs made it a really nice set. Continuing with the Big Star theme, we have Big Star Columbia. This is a live record. Only not Chris Bell. Alex Chilton and Jody Stevenson, the drummer, are on this album, and they were joined by 2 members of the Posies to form this particular lineup of Big Star. This was released back in the 90s when Big Star started going through a bit of a renaissance, and bands like Teenage Fan Club and those type of bands were name-checking Big Star. This is an excellent album. I've had this on cassette, CD, and now on vinyl. It's actually quite a nice pressing of this. It's a single record. But again, it plays like a greatest hits set as well. And as a tribute to Chris Bell, Alex Chilton and Jody Stevenson do a nice version of Chris Bell's I Am the Cosmos. Big Star, Columbia. Next we have a classic, Funkadelic, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow. I believe this is Funkadelic's second album, if I'm not mistaken. This is really good. I mean, this is funky as hell, and the guitar playing by Eddie Hazel on this is amazing. Some people say he sounds like Hendrix on this, and I can totally see the comparison there. I guess it opens this way. Let me do that. There you go. Yeah, this is a fantastic album. This is my first Funkadelic album on vinyl. Next we have a 90s classic, Badly Drawn Boy, The Hour of Bewilderbeast. I don't know if some of you will remember this back from the 90s. This is Badly Drawn Boy's first album, his debut album, and best album. Damon Gough is his real name. And this is an excellent album. Like I said, I've had this back in the 90s on CD. This is a double LP. I think it was released for the anniversary. I don't know if it was the 10th year anniversary or the 20th year anniversary, but this is a recent pickup for me. Excellent album. Sort of an indie rock, lo-fi kind of classic. Another classic album from a classic UK band, Primal Scream, and their fourth album, Give Out But Don't Give Up. This is Primal Scream's follow-up to their classic album, Screamadelica, which many people didn't realize Screamadelica was actually Primal Scream's third album. Many people thought it was their debut album. And then this was the follow-up to that album, so their fourth album overall. This has very much sort of a Stones kind of feel, very different from Screamadelica, but this is an excellent album. It's definitely up there with Screamadelica for me. It's just that it has a much different sound, and again, very bluesy, very Stonesy kind of feel. Has the songs Rocks, Jailbird, or some of the bigger songs from this. Next, a favorite artist of mine that I've shown many times before, and probably his most successful solo album, we have Paul Weller and his album from, I believe it was 93, Stanley Road. This is Paul Weller's third solo album after disbanding the Style Council. And this is his most popular solo album. It includes the songs Changing Man, Broken Stones, You Do Something To Me. Those were the bigger songs from this album. It's a gatefold as well. And also included on this album is an amazing version of, I showed in my last video, Humble Pie, and their album from the Fillmore performance. And they did an amazing version of Dr. John's Walk on Gilded Splinters. Paul Weller does, in my opinion, an even better version of Walk on Gilded Splinters on this album. Fantastic stuff from the Mod Father. Highly recommended. I was listening to some Dinosaur Jr., which I've shown before in one of my videos, and while watching some live footage on YouTube, I found that a lot of people were comparing this band to Dinosaur Jr. I don't really see the comparison so much, but it made me look into this band a little bit more. A band whose I was only familiar with the name only, and I didn't have any of their albums. I think I had one CD, but it wasn't something that I really played. But it made me look into their discography, and I picked up this album. This is the band Built to Spill, and this is their most popular album, Perfect From Now On. This is an excellent album. The musicianship on this is fantastic. Again, they were compared to Dinosaur Jr. in some of the comments on YouTube. I don't really see that, but this is an excellent album, and I'm really glad I got this. Speaking of Dinosaur Jr., this is Dinosaur Jr.'s most recent album, Glimpse of What You're Not, I believe it's called. Typical Dinosaur Jr., amazing guitar work by Jay Mascis, his lazy vocal, and great rhythm section by Lou Barlow on bass and Murph on drums. If you like Dinosaur Jr., you'll like this album. And then going back in their catalog to a classic, You're Livin' All Over Me, Dinosaur Jr.'s second album, again released with the original lineup back in the, I believe it was the early 90s, late 80s. This is a classic album. This is highly recommended. Little Furry Things is on this album, which is probably the most well-known song by Dinosaur Jr. On this album anyway. And then we have a couple of used record finds. I've always been a casual fan of Squeeze. I've had their RG Bargy album on vinyl. I've had their Singles album on vinyl. But I've seen some videos from, I suppose, Ross Goodall and also James Griffiths. And I know James is a big fan of Squeeze, and this is one album that he was really promoting on his channel, and I've always been on the lookout for it since he mentioned it. This is Squeeze's second album, Cool for Cats. This is an excellent, excellent album, and I'm really, really happy that I got this. And last but not least, another used record from the record store by a favorite fusion band of mine, the Mahavishnu Orchestra, and this is their album, Visions of the Emerald Beyond. So this is their, I believe it's their fifth album, and it's sort of Mahavishnu Orchestra Mach 2, where the original lineup disbanded. John McLaughlin continued on, and he brought in, I guess the most notable player that he brought in into the Mach 2 lineup was Jean-Luc Ponty, and Jean-Luc Ponty is awesome on this album. You got some excellent dueling guitar and violin moments on this that are excellent. Okay guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thank you to anybody who's subscribed, both since the beginning and also since my last video. And again, I welcome your comments. Thanks a lot.